The sun rose over the broken dunes where the old world slept beneath sand and silence. I walked alone with cracked boots and a pack of memories heavier than water. Every step stirred dust that once was cities and hopes and names now forgotten. The Wasteland did not care about my past, yet it watched me all the same. I learned early that survival was not strength alone, but patience and mercy. The first dragon appeared as a shadow stretched across the salt flats. Its wings were torn by old battles, and its scales were dull like buried copper. I raised no weapon because fear was already loud enough in this dead world. The dragon did not burn the air or roar my end into the sky. It simply watched me as if measuring the weight of my soul. I remembered the stories of desert dragons hunted for bone and fire. I remembered how humans taught the world to answer fear with cruelty. So I lowered my eyes and offered water from my last sealed flask. The dragon bent its long neck and drank as the wind held its breath. In that moment, something older than language passed between us. Word spreads even where radios are dead and roads are bones. By the third sunrise, another dragon followed us from the red cliffs. Smaller and scarred with a limp that told of traps and hunters. I shared food dried and tasteless, yet given with open hands. The dragon answered with warmth through the cold desert night. We traveled together through storms that stripped flesh from stone. The dragon shielded me with wings wide as broken bridges. I cleaned wounds packed with sand and infection using fire and care. They did not understand my words, yet they understood my intent. Kindness became our shared shelter when ruins could not. At the edge of the glass plains, we found the last of their kind. An ancient dragon whose eyes reflected stars long dead. Its breath was shallow and its body marked by loss. I knelt and pressed my forehead to the hot earth in respect. The old dragon touched me with its brow and accepted me. The nights grew brighter with fire that warmed without harm. The days grew safer with shadows that guarded my steps. I stopped thinking of myself as alone in the wasteland. They stopped seeing me as one of the hunters of old. Together we became something the dead world did not expect. When raiders came with engines screaming and hunger in their eyes, I stood between them and the dragons with empty hands. The dragons waited for my choice rather than their rage. I spoke of water shared and mercy learned in the dust. The raiders laughed until the sky darkened with wings. No fire fell that day, only warning and the promise of consequence. The raiders fled carrying fear instead of stolen bones. The dragons watched me as if asking why I spared them. I answered with silence because the answer was a bond itself. We would not rebuild the world with ashes again. Seasons passed marked by stars and the slow healing of land. Green crept back along the paths where dragons walked. I taught children born after the fall to greet fire with respect. The dragons taught me how to listen to the earth again. Kindness proved stronger than steel in the end. When my hair turned white like salt and my steps slowed, I rested beneath wings that once terrified the world. The wasteland was quiet and now not empty but waiting. The last desert dragons were no longer alone. Neither was I. The morning light stretched long across the dunes as our journey continued beyond the glass plains. Wind carved new songs through broken towers, and the dragons answered with low-thundered hums. I learned their language not in words, but in pauses, glances, and the rhythm of breath. Each dragon carried a memory of fire loss and survival etched deep into scale and bone. They followed me not as a master, but as a witness to their endurance. We crossed a canyon where metal skeletons of machines slept half-buried. One dragon hesitated, sensing echoes of pain trapped in the stone. I rested my hand against its warm hide and waited without urging. Time itself seemed to slow until trust replaced fear once more. Together we moved forward, leaving the ghost undisturbed. At night the stars felt closer, as if drawn by living flame below. The dragons traced circles in the sky, mapping constellations older than names. I listened and felt the universe breathe again after centuries of silence. In those hours I understood the world had never wanted domination. It had only wanted to be seen and cared for. A sandstorm rose like a wall, swallowing horizon and hope alike. I was nearly torn away by the screaming wind and stinging grit. Wings closed around me, forming a living shelter of heat and heart. Inside that storm cocoon, I felt safer than any bunker of old steel. Kindness again proved stronger than the fury of a world. When the storm passed, we found water where none had been before. A shallow basin filled by rare rain, protected by dragon tracks. Seeds long dormant cracked open and reached for light. Life followed us as if curiosity had returned to the earth. The wasteland slowly forgot how to be empty. Others came, travelers guided by rumor and firelight. They approached carefully, seeing dragons yet sensing peace. I taught them to sit, to wait, to offer before asking. Some learned and stayed, others left unable to let go of fear. The land itself seemed to choose who belonged. Years laid upon years, marked by hatchlings and new growth. Young dragons played in the dunes, chasing shadows and wind. They knew no chains, no spears, no burning cities. Only the warmth of shared fires and open skies. A future unburdened by old hatred took shape. My body weakened, but my spirit felt anchored at last. The dragons slowed their pace to match my fading steps. When I could no longer travel, they brought the world to me. Stories carried in flame patterns and gentle rumbles. I listened and felt complete. On my final night, the sky blazed with falling stars. The ancient dragon rested its head beside me once more. I placed my hand on the earth, feeling steady life beneath. No fear, no regret, only gratitude filled my breath. Kindness had carried us all this far. When dawn came, I did not rise, yet the world did not mourn. The dragons lifted their voices in low, resonant song. Not of loss, but of continuation and bond unbroken. The wasteland, now a cradle of fire and green, listened. And the story went on, carried by wings and gentle flame.